now.
Hi, this is Tiffany from M&T Events, and of course the mama is behind the camera. So if you're seeing some pimples or something, I'm sorry.
Bleep.
Because sometimes she doesn't know.
Keep going.
So today we're going to teach you how to make yellow cake. So it's quite simple, but we're only going to show you like a small recipe so that you guys can make a sample and then you can just kind of go bigger from there. So the first thing you'll need is 160 grams of flour. Okay? Throw that in the pan. Technically it's not a pan, it's a bowl. Anywho, so the next thing you'll need is 170 grams of sugar. The next thing you'll need is 7 grams of baking powder. Next, 5 grams of salt. And we go by grams because it's more accurate than going by cups. So as you can see here, all the dry ingredients went into the bowl. You're going to want to mix that up a little bit just to incorporate it so that you're not, you know, adding butter and then all of a sudden it's just clumped together with salt. Alright, so we mix it just a little bit. You're going to add, what am I adding? 113 grams of unsalted butter. Okay, and it's got to be room temperature. So you're going to want to get that out there. And these are already obviously pre-measured, so it's a lot easier. It's always easier if you pre-measure everything, and that way you can just, at that point, dump things into a bowl.
What kind of butter is it? Is it the regular, normal butter?
No, this is a European butter. So
salted or?
It's unsalted.
Unsalted. I didn't catch that part.
Clearly. Alright, so unsalted butter goes into the pot, the pan, the bowl, whatever you want to call it.
You move too much. I make people all dizzy with filming. Going back and forth.
And you mix it. Okay? So you're going to want it to come to kind of like a crumble stage. Just keep on mixing.
So how long generally?
What do you mean?
You mix it.
You mix it until it gets to a crumble stage. So you're not going to want to see just flour. You're going to make sure that it's like a cobbler, like the top of a cobbler.
Oh, like the stuff when you do pies and you just press it into it?
Correct.
Okay.
However, this is going to be slightly drier. And since you're not using melted butter, it's not going to be as, you know, oily or as clumpy as the other one.
And you don't put no liquid in it? You don't...
Right now, no. Right now you're mixing it until it's incorporated, until the butter is completely incorporated into the flour, sugar.
Okay. By doing that, what is the benefit of doing that versus putting the liquid right away in there with the rest? You know it is.
I mean, it's just a lot
makes it smoother.
Better. Yeah, it's just a lot better to do that.
Exactly.
Now, if you're going to throw it all together, you're going to realize that you're going to have chunks of butter. And so you're going to have to continually whip, and you don't need to do all that because then you're going to overbeat your batter.
I think it has something also to do with the sugar, because the sugar needs to be melted with the butter. I think that makes
It's not melted with the butter, but it does crystallize when it's baking, and it helps with the baking.
Right.
So if you look at it right now, you'll see that it's pretty fine little kernels there. So that's a really good crumble for a top of a cobbler or, you know, a breakfast cake. Turns out pretty good that way, if you wanted to do it that way, okay? So at this stage, you start to add your eggs. Alright, and right here, we have 50 grams of egg yolk. And here you have 64 grams of just egg, which means egg yolk and egg white, so a regular egg. This is probably equivalent to 1 to 2 eggs. And then you're going to have 90 milliliters of milk. What you're going to want to do is add the eggs and milk together.
And how much cake does this usually make, this little recipe?
This one will make at least a 6 by 6 inch pan.
And it feeds how many people?
It feeds about 10 people, and that's if you're talking wedding cake size. Event cake size, I would say maybe 6 people. And that's if they're really hungry. And they really want cake. Alright? So this right here is actually lemon essence, so it's an oil, it's not an extract. Lemon oils and extracts, or even any kind of essence that is an oil, is actually going to be more potent, and so it has more flavor. Okay? So you're going to add that with that. And you're going to give this a little mix. Alright. What we're going to do is we're going to slowly add this. You're going to add about half of it and allow it to mix. So if you look in here, you'll see that we're going to start beating it quite quickly. And we're going to want this to beat up to fluffy. As you can see, that happens pretty quickly when you turn it up high. We're going to slow it down.
Looks delicious, I just want to eat it now.
You're going to slow it down because if you try to put the rest of it in there, you're going to end up like I did the first time I tried this, with egg all over your face. Alright? So you don't want to do that. Alright, so we added the last of that. Letting it mix a little bit before we turn it on high. And then slap it on high and let it mix out. What we're going to do right now is we're going to scrape down the side of the bowl, because you're going to want to make sure that none of the butter, none of the flour mixture is in the middle of, or on the side of the bowl. You want to make sure all the ingredients are incorporated properly. And sometimes this is really important, because when you mix it, you'll notice that your beater at some point, if it doesn't hit the very bottom of your bowl, it will actually kind of clump up on the bottom there. So at that point you're losing ingredients because you're not incorporating it all. So you're going to want to make sure that the bottom of the bowl has no more of that flour mixture. Okay? So we're going to give it another good beating. This is how your batter should look. So it's not too liquidy, and it's not too stiff. So what you should end up with is a nice, fluffy, and moist yellow cake. Okay? You're going to set your ovens to 350 degrees. If you have a convection oven, it should automatically reset to something around 320 degrees. Because obviously it's hotter than a normal oven, so it adjusts for the temperature. So if you do have a convection oven and it doesn't do the conversion for you, you're going to want to make sure that the temperature is a bit lower. Alright, let me grab my oil pan. You're going to use an oil pan, because otherwise it will stick.
And do you put anything else in there?
Parchment paper.
Oh.
Parchment paper is easy, and because I'm lazy, I use the round version. And I just slap it in there so I don't have to cut anything.
And the reason why you put parchment paper in there?
The reason why we put parchment paper on the bottom of the cake is, number one, so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. So when you try to get it out, once it's slightly cool, it's going to come out fairly easily, and all you'll have to do is try to get the sides off, which usually by this point, the sides are going to come away from the pan. They shouldn't stick to the pan. But you will need to make sure that your pan is well oiled. cake and you know somebody's just gonna lick the pan.
Not me.
I might later. Make sure that's spread out evenly. And then it goes in the oven. All right, make sure the oven is preheated. You're not sticking it in a cold oven and preheating it with it on. And make sure the oven is already at the temperature it needs to be for baking. And that's it. I'm kidding. I'm watching my mom in the background like doing hand signs and I don't know sometimes what she's trying to tell me.
That's it. Bye. And we're going to show you the finished product once it's done.
We'll show you the product once it's done. You say product like it's, you know, a piece of art or something. It's cake. We'll show you the cake when it's done. And then we might even make another one. Excuse me. Good day. Hi. How are you?
Not like that. So how do you zoom?
With the lens. You literally have to use the lens, Mama.
Or you cannot, on the camera, you have to...
No. You have to use the lens.
Oh, that sucks.
That's why you have a lens. So if you wanted to zoom, you zoom it with a lens.
Oh, you're further away now. This is better. And then oh yeah, this is good. So I actually could go closer. So now it makes sense. So now when you go to the pot, I can actually do like that.
Can you see the pot?
Yes. Perfect. I see a pimple. Nah, just kidding.
Don't do that. Embarrassing.
Take two. Come on.
All right. Are you?
Yeah.
I'll turn it off. Hi, this is Tiffany from M&T Events.